Mr. John Pizzuro is the Chief Executive Officer of Raven, a nonprofit organization focused on preventing child exploitation. He previously served with the New Jersey State Police, including as the commander of the New Jersey Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force.
Legislation is falling behind the technology that's putting our children at risk. Every day, our inaction to pass legislation results in children being victimized at ever-increasing rates. As someone who's dedicated their life to protecting children, I can assure you we need better awareness, support, policy, and legislation to protect our children. The sad reality is that protecting our children has not been a priority. I'm here to ask you to change that, making protecting our children a priority that they deserve to be. The tech industry has provided limited solutions to protect our children. There has not been a decrease in online victimization. There's been a substantial increase. The tech industry's answer has been to reduce trust and safety teams, employ greater privacy measures, such as end-to-end encryption, and hide behind virtual private networks or VPNs. Everything they do to protect children is voluntary, which includes the information that they share with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and law enforcement. The truth is, they do the bare minimum of what is required. Children are made vulnerable on these platforms as the result of poor moderation, the absence of age or identity verification, and inadequate safety mechanisms. The truth is, we have not protected our children sufficiently due to the ever-increasing use of social media apps and the growth of their online lives. The risk for their harm has increased at such a significant pace that shielding them from abuse and exploitation has become untenable. Today, there are countless victims of CSAM, child trafficking, hands-on offenders, sextortion, and other exploitive crimes that we have yet to even identify. Those who would protect our youth are overburdened and under-resourced, which makes children vulnerable.
What made you want to get involved in this particular aspect of law enforcement?
It's children.
Yeah.
The one common denominator for everyone, because everyone has children, a lot are in our unit. Mm-hmm. We have individuals throughout the country, is children. I mean, when you're out there protecting and saving children, it doesn't get any more, how do you put it, real and mission-oriented than trying to save children from, the dangers of society. 88% of all children between 12 and 17 have access to a mobile device. 75% own a smartphone. We did an internet safety not too long ago where I believe 10 out of the 25 kids in first or second grade had a smartphone. So when you're talking 7, 8 years old, having that technology, predators are going to go to wherever their children are. The more children-friendly apps, if for the parents out there, I would just look at any apps that your children are on. Those are the apps that predators are going to look for. And what you need to do is just monitor it. Monitor what they're doing on a daily basis. Having those conversations. They're going to go to that. And the more mundane or the more generic, such as Minecraft or even Xbox or even games or video games, that's where they're going to go. So, for a parent, they're going to have to take a look at every app that there is because that's where the predators are going to go. Let's look at the warning signs, especially when it comes to children. Okay. If your children start to isolate themselves, we talked about minimizing screens, but if you notice that they're, isolated, if they're less to conversation, if they're staying in the room a lot, their mood changes, those are things that are happening in the dynamic of the family that you have to be aware of because those are things that could represent, a predator or a cyberbully engaging them on online activity, especially considering that that's where the medium is. I mean, I went to dinner one day and sitting next to me was a mother, father, and 3 kids. And for an hour and a half, there was not 1 minute conversations. They were all into their devices.
What can the government do better?
Well, the government can do a lot better as far as that we're talking about today. We need a little bit more, first of all, uniformity, age identification, identity verification. There's a lot of times where the users, tomorrow I can go get a phone and be whoever I want to be. I can get a phone, I can create an app, I can create a fake email address, and then use it for whatever reasons I need to. So from that perspective is that from the tech companies, we need a little bit more from that moderation, that aspect, who's on what end of the phone. Subject matter, honestly, is that from a law enforcement perspective, it's even child sexual abuse material, we don't want to know. So law enforcement generally doesn't really spend that much time doing that. So it's underfunded, there's less resources, and that comes from the agencies itself.
No, thank you for your testimony.
And one of the other things I'll add is that we need companies to actually be responsive to legal process immediately and send us that data, and we have difficulties with a lot of those companies now.
So talk about the privacy concerns, I guess, from what are they talking about? What are they alleging from a privacy perspective as to why they will not fight back against child sexual abuse material on their platforms?
Well, they move that they can't see it on their platform. So if you go to end-to-end encryption where you have basically both sides where that data is there, they're saying that we can't see it. So again, they're not even scanning for that. So the challenge becomes is that they're totally dark. So the idea is that if I don't know what's happening on my platform, then technically I don't have to report it. So what happens is then other companies do the direct opposite. If it's something, then I'm going to report it. So that is really the disparity between Meta and Apple as an example.